Meow to y'all, it's the Cutting Corner podcast hosted by your resident Catboy Keo, where we talk about video editing tips, tricks, and tactics to stay up to date in the competitive content creation world. Here with me today is 20-year-old primary editor for TommyInnit, hailing from Atlanta, Georgia, TalentLacking. Larry, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Oh my God, you sound so professional doing that. That's so weird. Just like
No,
sitting here
I
watching
know
you do that.
It's just, yeah, man, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So people know you primarily, of course, as the editor for TommyInnit and Fundy as well, right?
Yeah.
Are you also the primary editor for Fundy?
No, not really. I mean, I sort of was for his live channel, but not really nowadays for his. No, not really. So that.
Okay, I was curious because I'm unfamiliar with Fundy's content, so I actually wasn't sure if you were the primary editor or you were a contributor. Okay, cool.
I was for a good.
You were for a bit.
For a good like part of the year, but nah, not really.
Okay, gotcha. So the first question that I have for you, honestly, is kind of diving into a meme, so to speak. Is there really anything particularly special about Dosis that makes it the perfect subtitle, like typeface? Or is it simply like one that Tommy seemed to like at the time of the original selection and it just kind of like stuck?
Well, well, the thing is, right, Tommy actually thought that was the font that Ludwig used. And, Tommy being the Ludwig stan he is. I mean, that's how he explained it to me. I mean, it's a bit confusing because that's how he brought it up to me initially. But then like a few months ago, he said like, oh, yeah, I actually got it from the VR chat logo. So I don't know. So either of those should work.
VR chat logo. I actually had no idea. Dosis is the VR chat logo or uses it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, weird. Okay, I'll have to throw that up on screen. That's interesting.
Yeah, no,
I never thought about that.
Yeah, he brought it up in a call with me. He was like, oh, yeah. Larry, if you want to get a good font ever, just scroll through like a bunch of video games and just get it from them because they use good logos. They know exactly what to use. I mean, they use good fonts. They know exactly what to use.
Right, exactly. I can't tell you how many times I've ripped off like Persona or even Fortnite and things like that for decent fonts for thumbnails or whatever it might be, right? But yeah, video games are an excellent source for sure.
Yeah, I'm a Minecraft sort of guy, but yeah, Dosis works too. Sure.
Do we actually know what Ludwig's font is?
Calibri Bold, I think.
Calibri
according
Bold.
to Polite. I brought this up to Polite, his Ludwig's editor. But that's actually what they use. So Tommy was completely wrong on that front. He just got it from like a site where you could just plug in an image and it'll tell you the font, but
it'll estimate. Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's funny. Shout out Polite. Hope he's doing well.
Is he getting on the podcast soon at some point?
I don't know. Maybe he is. Who knows?
Oh, okay.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Ooh.
So is the notion of being known as an editor online primarily ever something that irks you? Or do you proudly wear it as like a badge of identity and like pride in your work? Because people tend to be conflicted because obviously we're more than just our work, right? But it varies person to person whether they like to associate with their work with their identity online.
Oh yeah, no, I love editing, so I don't mind it at all. I mean, of course, I'm gonna make the joke here and there, like, oh, you're an editor, but I'm not actually like against
discarded editor.
Idea.
Sure.
Oh,
of course,
okay,
of course.
Yeah, the whole like they deserve no rights idea.
Yeah, editor no rights. Greedy editors taking all the money. Right.
Yeah, you should. They need to be paying they get to watch all the footage for free. They need to.
Exactly. They get early access. What is this?
Yeah, what a bunch of conniving assholes. They are. My bad.
Sorry. I don't know. That tickled my funny bone. I don't know why.
Conniving is an underrated word. It needs to be utilized more.
Wow. Sorry, that completely took me out.
I really don't mind it at all, honestly. I mean, there is a bit of that discrepancy between like being called an editor versus being called Tommy's editor, which is a bit, I mean, I can live with that. I prefer to just be called, just editor, but it's
right,
what it is.
Yeah, I don't think it's malicious ever. Like obviously it's a sign of like almost respect, saying like, oh my God, it's so and so's editor. That's they do really good stuff. More so than it is like, oh, it's an attachment of Tommy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought that was an interesting thing to ask you because a lot of people do call you Editor Larry, even Tommy himself. But I didn't know if you particularly like the label of that because some people really, really, really just like to be known as their handle online and not as their occupation, whether it be, a writer, musician, whatever, right?
Yeah.
editing is certainly something I don't think, that has been asked a lot of, or to editors rather, whether or not they prefer being actually called their occupation first and then their name,
I mean, my my online handle, TalentLacking, is literally self-deprecating. So,
Right,
so I don't really,
right.
I could go either way. I just sort of made that my name as a joke more than anything. But so being called TalentLacking, I don't think I've been called TalentLacking ever. So I think
It's
it'd be
always
weird.
been Larry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been Larry or some variation of Larry. Because I don't know, people got a lot of nicknames for Larry. I mean, not a lot of nicknames. The go-to is Lair Bear or Lobster. But Editor Larry, Editor Larry's fine.
I've never heard those two actually.
Well, yeah, you're not Larry.
Okay, all right. Well, fair enough.
Yeah, you're more associated with monster cans.
Oh yeah, true. All right, don't dox me here.
Yeah,
don't dox my full legal first name.
I didn't say it. It was a completely new implication.
No.
Also,
we can
also good
exactly. Do you have a personal line that you draw where like a creator oversteps their boundaries and is like too involved with the editing process, like to a detrimental point? Or do you believe that like a creator's word is law, regardless of the context and your creative intent with the video?
I don't know. I've never had that issue before because I'll be honest, I haven't had that many clients and I haven't had that many issues with Tommy, and I haven't had enough clients to really have that issue before.
Okay, that was another thing I was curious about, if you would actually had enough clients to run into that issue ever. But
oh yeah, no, Tommy is literally one of my first consistent clients, and I've been working with him for like 2 years,
and it just stuck. Yeah
he was the only one. I wasn't really looking for work, but he was the only one who would like come up to me. He was like, and I'd be like, hey, I mean, money on the table, I may as well.
Right, of course. Yeah,
but yeah, no, for me it really comes down to more of a compromise than like me just putting my foot down and saying no, because I said, never had that issue before. There have been times where he would ask too much and I'd be like, yeah, no, I can't, I can't do that. I mean, wait, what's it?
Right, reasonably, yeah.
And those compromises are usually like either a delay in the video or just like this won't work actually in the final product.
I gotcha. Yeah, I think you've been editing for Tommy like a little over 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what's the most like stark difference that you could point out when looking back at your old content with him compared to your newest works?
From my first edit to now, I'd say the biggest difference would be I definitely had like a lot more creative juices flowing throughout the edit, like going on. And it was obvious. It was more like ADHD shit must happen in order to keep the audience grounded and engaged, right? Yeah. But nowadays, it's more like I'm letting the humor in the recording speak for itself while sort of emphasizing that throughout the cuts. And it like usually like before then, it was more like actual visual effects, but now it's like more within the assembly of the video.
Okay, I gotcha.
And like comedic timing and all that.
Right, exactly. I was gonna say like they're definitely the type of creators that their humor carries the content first and foremost. But I was always curious if there was something creatively different about what you did previously for Tommy at the very beginning of your work with him compared to what you do now. And if what you're telling me, if I understood it correctly, is that you used to be much more visually involved as far as the edits go versus now just kind of letting the content speak for itself and just giving it as much foundation and support as possible versus you stepping in and adding things to it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, that makes sense, I think. And regarding the subtitling work that Tommy videos are like famous for at this point, right? Do you actually see an automatic solution being viable at any point in the near future? Or is like YouTube content similar to what you do anyways, like too nuanced with in-jokes and made up words to like adequately rely on a plugin that relies on like AI? You know what I mean?
I don't think so. Because like even if it was automatic, even if it could get like all the words down, one thing that I don't think it would be able to get down is like comedic timing within the subtitles. Because like that's a small thing that a lot of people don't get down, and that's not related to the fault of anyone, but it's like it's such a small detail that I feel highly gets overlooked. Because when you're looking at subtitles, right, your brain usually reads it faster. You're usually done with like most of the words by the time the person already says it, right? And I feel like that really ruins it, especially with a Tommy video, which is more comedy based. For me personally, reading the punchline before it's actually said just fucking ruins the joke.
Ruins
yeah,
it, yeah.
no.
Yeah, no, I agree. Highly agree.
Like if someone somehow managed to code an AI that actually follows the cadence of someone's speech to the point where it actually like makes sense, you know?
Right.
Then
Right.
yeah, no, I'd be oh my god, that's like 80% of the work done.
I think we're a good 5 years at least from anything that would resemble that. But
Yeah.
what I've been seeing recently that exists out there currently, things that can subtitle, for example, this sentence, if my cadence is extremely clear and I speak in, a perfectly quote unquote normal American English, then it can translate this usually okay. But if I start talking like this and then there's a lot of conversation like this and it just moves on way too quickly for an AI, it's like, no, there's no way you're going to have an AI that can reasonably pick up stuff like that, understand accents, understand in jokes, understand, anything like that. So I think subtitling is always going to be a manual thing, unfortunately, unless you're working like a corporate job for edits or, like a video production house that does, maybe interviews. I could see that being a little bit easier to work with as far as like automatic transcripting. I think that's what the word is officially.
Or transcribing.
Transcribing, thank you. But in our line of work with us working with like content creators that move their sentences a million miles a second, I don't think it's feasible. I don't think we're always going to be stuck doing it for a while, at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, especially within a Tommy video, man. They're all British. They all got different accents. They all speak at varying speeds. And it's just, stuff like examples like that, it just would not work out. Actually, speaking of the subtitles, I really don't think there's really much you can get an AI to do automatically, like in general.
Leave up to an AI, yeah.
Yeah, no, because like, I don't know, I feel like that really takes away from like the personality sort of stuff of it.
Yeah, of course.
Like the personality of like within the edits. Just like, I don't want to be like one to gatekeep editing, but I don't know. I feel like that's like a super important thing to have like within edit, because like having that, imperfect sort of execution in an edit,
right.
I feel like can, it have that sort of charm.
So you've dabbled in like content creation for like many, many years before Tommy.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember you did even more like niche things like song mashups, like ages ago. Do you feel like you found your place in the content creator ecosystem and like you feel most comfortable doing what you do now? Or are there like avenues you've, yet to explore that you still want to experience?
Well, you see, I can't read the future. So, of
course,
so saying that this is like I'm definitely comfortable sitting here, but I wouldn't say this is definitely like the last avenue I'd be within editing. And I know there's still some fields that I'd like to maybe somehow dabble in, maybe like professional wise, like a music video sort of set sort of thing, maybe. Like I'd be down for that. But yeah, no, I don't think YouTube content creation would be the last road for me. Although to say it is, I mean, I don't mind. I mean, like I said, I'm comfortable here. But yeah, no, there's definitely some parts that I'd like to stick my toes in, see how the temperature is.
For sure. I think YouTube as a platform is really the most unstable factor in all this, because I feel like there's always going to be people that want to make content. There's always going to be people that want to monetize said content, and they need editors if they want their video content made into something digestible, because at that point, if you remove the editor, it's just a Twitch stream. But as long as there is a platform that can host content made from individuals in the same vein that YouTube does, I think that our job as YouTube editors is relatively safe. I guess I should say content creation editors versus, YouTube editors, because who knows 10 years down the line if YouTube will still be the predominant, video platform. It's been around for almost 2 decades now, but which is crazy to think about.
God, it has.
And it's almost reaching the point of too big to fail, but like there have been more than several examples of things that are quote unquote too big to fail collapsing. You know what I mean?
Titanic.
Like you can reinforce a foundation as much as you can, but it doesn't mean that it's indestructible.
Yeah.
So in that regard, I am always a little bit nervous, but it's not like these skills are untransferable to other fields. Should, like, let's say, nightmare scenario 5 years from now, YouTube content creation is no longer like profitable. No one wants to advertise on YouTube for whatever reason, right? Obviously, that takes away the money from the creators that'd be able to pay us, yada, yada, right? People that are still experienced in YouTube editing would still be able to transfer those skills to other things like TV production and things like that. It's not like they're skills are really only isolated in this one medium of content. You know, there's so many things you can do with just having like the eyes and ears for pacing, you know, what looks good on camera and what, you know, color correction is. Like those skills are transferable to so many other things that I would hope that most editors know that, you know, video editing doesn't have to be the end all be all for them if they're still developing their skill set. So
yeah, no, I actually noticed that because like thing with pacing. Because like, I mean, I thought pacing like initially only referred to like how fast it takes to get to each sentence, right? Like how little dead space there is. Right. But like, just like, I don't know. I realize like even within like a Tommy video, I have to focus on like how fast it takes to get to the next scene or setting or the next room or, you know, whatever. How long
story arc.
Yeah, the story. Yeah, the story. Even if it's not like, not just that, even if it's not like the focus of whatever's happening at all, like we still have to like be wary of that sort of stuff. And yeah, no, you're very much right about pacing with how it like definitely transfers over, because like I noticed shit like there's a lot of similarities between like, I don't know, say some big show like, I don't know, MasterChef versus like a Mr. Beast video. Weirdly enough to say it as it is, stuff like that. Like that's why I don't think with my sort of skill set, I don't think content creation is like the very final destination for me.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say MasterChef, because I can think of, you know, immediate similarities between the two. That being like, you know, there's always something being dramatic to keep the viewer engaged. You know, things like making sure that there's like a cliffhanger to keep someone through a sponsorship segment. You know, things like that. Like those are universal, I feel, at this point in any form of content that requires monetization to keep running, so to speak. So yeah, no, absolutely. I think that, you know, not just you, but like any editor that does this for a living now that's worried about not being sure if it'll carry on, you know, forever, so to speak. It can, I think, as long as you want it to. I don't think YouTube's going anywhere in the immediate future, but if you wanted to transfer into something like TV, film, you know, whatever, it's still absolutely possible. And it's not like you're going to have to start from zero. So.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Especially in this space, dude. People know everyone, which is weird.
No. I mean, I feel like editors. I should specify content creator is separate, I think, from people like esports players and things like that. When I say content creator, I think of people that make scripted content or do Twitch streams that they then make into YouTube content. You know, with the sole intent of creating a story or sharing a story of some sort. You know, it doesn't have to be a literal story, but just, you know, whether it's they were goofing off on stream and they turn that into a story they can share on YouTube, you know, or anything similar to that. I think that type of content is very different from people that are just, you know, sharing the best gameplay that they can and being a professional esports player and things like that. Those type of editors, I think, are very different from the type of editors that you and I know. And I'd love to learn a bit more about that world. I have people kind of like in the middle ground that edit for, you know, not only, you know, creators that do things on our end of things, but also work for like esports organizations and things like that. So I'd eventually like to merge the gap, so to speak, and learn a bit more about the other side of creators, quote unquote, on YouTube and Twitch. But to say that, you know, everyone knows each other, I don't think that's an understatement. I really do feel like, oh, you're so-and-so's editor, or, oh, you also edit for so-and-so. I know them through this person. And I knew that person from this person. There's so many like people I've met through a third party this year and last that I can't count them on my hands. It's actually impressive how many people that I've networked with over the last few years. And you were thankfully one of them. I'm so thankful that I got a chance to work alongside you for a bit.
It makes it both of us. Happy to reciprocate, I guess. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, of course. So working alongside like other editors that we were speaking of, like Archie and Elodie, have you ever had to collaborate on like a shared project, or are each of the videos handled completely separately?
A shared project? Wait, what do you mean shared project? Like two people working on it?
A shared video. Yeah.
Shit, no, I don't think so, actually.
No, they were all pretty independent.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't think I have. I mean, there have been times where Tommy would hand me a video, be like, "Hey, you do the cuts, and I'll do the other parts," or stuff like that. But I don't think.
Right.
I don't think there's been like a one where we're working like side by side. Oh, actually, we're actually getting into that.
Sure.
Me and Tommy actually like starting to like get into that workflow of like getting more people to work on different parts of a video instead of just like all piling it on me.
Exactly. That's what we're currently doing on the Socks React channel. We have a nice workflow where it is me doing the cutting and subtitling, and then it gets passed off to another editor that works with us, Riddle Master. Shout out to Riddle Master. And they handle all of the After Effects and dynamic link side of things. And it cuts the work in half for both of us. So I'm able to finish a quote unquote work shift in like 3 hours. And, they are as well. And, you get the video in the same amount of time, but you're not stressing out, one editor, with a huge workload. So I think having a system like that, if you're a creator, is really, really nice. If you have the resources for, multiple editors, of course, but it helps the editors out a lot. I'll say that much.
Oh yeah, I'd imagine. Because the thing is with the Tommy video, I know where I'm going with every single thing. So like every single thing going on throughout a video. So we haven't started yet. We're setting it up. We're setting it up for everyone.
Sure.
But like, cause like I don't know, there's like so many little intricate things in a Tommy video that I like to have control of, I guess.
Sure.
Because like,
oversee.
I know what's happening, like going on. Like I know what parts to keep in because there's a callback later in the video, or like I know what music I want for this scene right here specifically.
Right.
Just stuff like that. So having control over that stuff is very nice. What's also nice is not wanting to die within the process of making the video. Because like I said, Tommy videos are it's so much work. Because like
yes, they are a lot.
Yeah, no, we're very nit. I'm not even talking about just subtitles. I'm talking about like having to handle, even having like a lot more people on each video. I'm talking like having to work with like 8 different POVs and knowing how to put them into one video that flows well, makes sense, and like and just is also funny, has good comedic timing, all of that, good music, the usual, the typical. I actually worked on for those of you that don't know, I actually worked on this TommyInnit Hunger Games video, which was a whopping 19 actually POVs to work with. The fact that I managed to get that down to a video that made sense is probably the coolest thing I've ever done. But my God, was it so much work cutting it down.
Hellish.
It was hellish.
Yeah.
It was just so much. And that video, this and the prison video that we did, it was 8 POVs. I mean, it's only 8 POVs. No, it's still shit. It's still a shit ton of work. But a lot of people will probably never have to work with that many POVs. I mean, sure, cameras, different angles and whatnot, but no, this is like different people with different jokes and different things going on. So it's like a way harder. So yeah, those videos were kind of like our wake up call. Like we need to get like other people for these massive videos that Tommy wants to work on.
Projects. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like I'm sure I don't want to say mastered, but I'm sure you've gotten used to editing the smaller things that are like, maybe 12 minutes or so. And it's just, it's 1, maybe 2 Twitch streams. You stitch them together, you subtitle it, you get the music in, and you're used to that at this point. It's been a few years. But the projects that are getting bigger and bigger, like you said, like the Manhunt, just a grandiose scale of things that have never been done on YouTube up until you had the courage to accept the job yourself. Yeah, it's really daunting. I can't imagine that any sane editor, forgive me, would take on a project like that without any assistance. But
hey.
You did it. You're here.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the only thing that I did that actually was help to assist me, which I don't think a lot of other people could do. I mean, it's kind of our fault for not getting anyone else to help. But what I did, right, I actually got me and a friend who also occasionally helps work on the videos, within subtitling, because he usually gets the subtitles because I can't do the subtitles on my own, right? I actually do outsource that part of a video to someone else to do. I got him to we just both go into a recording in spectator mode, like invisible and shit, and just flying around taking notes of stuff that's going down, and then later in post I would take all those notes and sort of form a story around those parts. And so I knew kind of how to put those parts together,
right?
Really just in the grand scheme of things, just know how to put it all together. And then I threw a bunch of little funny bits in throughout the video that I managed to see.
Right. Yeah.
quite the workflow.
It's just very right. It's just very impressive to me, I think. And it's one of the main reasons why I look up to so many younger editors that I don't want to say like got an early start, but I think they started consuming the content that they would eventually edit. You know what I mean? Like when I was starting to begin editing, there was really nothing on the platform that symbolized what I would eventually be editing today. But seeing as, you know, there was a plethora of amazing Minecraft creators, you know, on YouTube since probably the time that you began editing, I have to imagine that it assisted in some fashion you being able to, you know, be inspired directly from types of content that you would eventually go on to edit yourself.
Oh
you know?
yeah, I I take almost no inspiration from like Minecraft people. I got all like most of my editing style, at least initially, at least I was hired for, was just like the sort of visual stuff, and that was like the more sort of YTPMV, you know, YouTube poop music video sort of aspect of YouTube, which is like weirdly high quality shit posting.
Yeah, disturbingly well made edits. Yeah, for what they were.
Yeah, no, it was weirdly enough, the most of my inspiration, at least like from when I started really getting into editing, was this person named Mountain Dew.
Oh yes, I do know
you
them.
know him.
Yes,
He had this Blend W video where he got an anime intro took the anime intro for Blend S and replaced every fucking facet of that video with something Snoop Dogg related, like from like the whole music, the whole song being being a variation of smoke weed every day, to animating every person's face to be Snoop Dogg's face, to every...
I remember that specific video.
And having every dot, every little thing just be something weed related. And that shit was inspiring to me. I watched it religiously and I thought, man, that shit is cool. And so
that's what I want to do.
And so I decided to like trying to up. I started trying to learn like After Effects and whatnot, and like, you know, that skill of having After Effects on my side, of knowing how to use After Effects, really carried over to like Minecraft, Sky Wars sort of thing, because that's kind of where I start. That's very much where I started, and that's how kind of where I got my name as an editor, and that's how Tommy found me. So.
That's really cool. That's really cool. It's crazy because like even them, right? Like I'm sure that was at the time probably like their editing peak, right? And now they're like, you know, like a generalist of skill sets. Like they do VFX work, motion design, and all kinds of really impressive stuff. And they've even gone into, you know, now I'm not sure if you know, but they're like a co-founder of a VTuber agency, which is really cool.
Oh, yeah. I still have notifications on for Mountain Dew. That man's a hero.
It's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool seeing how far editors can like really push their skill sets and stuff like that. So I think there's always something to learn, and I think that's the beauty of, you know, the visual work that we do. Like we can always be inspired by something, whether it be something as simple as like, you know, a funny, you know, Minecraft video, or like you said, a stupid YouTube poop, right? There's probably half the demographic watching the podcast isn't going to know what a YouTube poop is, but
and don't worry about it.
You know, yeah, exactly. Don't worry about it. No need to research. No need to look into that. It's a bygone era.
It's just garbage.
It's literally garbage from a bygone era that was too well made.
Yeah.
But you know, at the end of the day, it inspired us to do what we do, and you know, I'm happy that we're doing it. But I hope that, you know, I can have even a smidgen of success and talent that has been built up, you know, from people like Mountain Dew. So yeah, no, I don't know. I'm continuously inspired by editors.
Oh yeah, no, that's people. Weirdly enough, there are people who are like, I want to be like as big as Editor Larry. You're like, bitch, no. What the fuck do I? What do I do? I sit there and edit. I mean, that's cool. It's inspired by edits, but like there are people who are like, I want to be as big as you. Like, what? No, that doesn't that doesn't matter. that I could not tell you how little. I mean, sure, being able to branch out to other people, I guess that kind of matters. But like,
sure.
Number does not matter in terms of social media.
No.
In this sort of field. And I think it's important to note that like the idea that like it doesn't matter the size of whoever, that there's always a place to learn something editing wise. Like
yeah.
I still watch Premiere Pro tutorials, man. While I eat.
Yeah, you can take inspiration from anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's a piece of content or a tutorial or even a movie. You know what I mean? Like it really doesn't matter. You can get inspired by any form of media, piece of content, whatever. Don't let your brain pigeonhole you into thinking that you need to only watch tutorials to get better at things, because you can passively be inspired by, just about anything, really. Any sort of media that you consume.
Oh yeah. It's like there's so many different like little crevices of editing to like take notes from.
Yeah, like a significant portion of what's impressive about your edit specifically, like it's not necessarily the visual complexity of the edit. It's like the sheer scale of them and like the tedious nature of putting them together. Your timelines stretch out like highways, but you manage to create the videos in like an incredibly timely manner. Like, what are some of the biggest takeaways you've made working with Tom and trying to create his vision as efficiently as possible?
Efficiently? Oh my God. There are so fucking many keybinds in Premiere that ones that like aren't even like there by default, but like literally anything you can right click to, right? If you like want to right click
nest.
Right click nest. There's you can set a keybind for that. There's a keybind for like just adding a cut like right where the playhead is. There's and that's like it's disgusting how many unused, super stupidly handy Premiere Pro keybinds there are. It doesn't even have to be Premiere Pro. You can get like an auto hotkey and like do it form those macros yourself or something.
Yeah. I use something called Excalibur, which basically lets me bind any effect or any command doable within Premiere, whether it be an effect or like a normal task or tool, to any macro or key that I want. Even if the key is on something like a Stream Deck or the side of my mouse, like it'll let me bind it to anything. And it's been incredibly useful. Like I'm able to make every effect and cut that I need literally just from my mouse. And the only times that I use my keyboard is to use A and D to move back and forward for navigating clips. So like if I want to go to the next clip, I hit D. If I want to go to the previous clip, I hit A. Obviously, playing and pausing is space bar, but everything else is on the side of my mouse, which is so handy.
Dude. Oh my God, Excalibur is so fucking handy. It's just, my God, I cannot recommend it enough for people who have like really any workflow. Honestly, like it's such a. We're not even sponsored. This ain't sponsored or nothing. But like
I know, maybe eventually. I've plugged it enough times.
it's so good. Okay, if you plugged it enough times, I'm not gonna go on about it. But it's like it's so handy. Also though, although I will get on that point you made there with the mouse with a bunch of buttons on the side. Oh my God.
Yes, the MMO mouse.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I got a Logitech G600. Best thing ever.
Oh, those are great.
Oh my God. There's a lot of mice out there. What is there? I can name a few right here. What is it? There's the Corsair Scimitar. There's the Logitech G600. There's the Red Dragon Perdition. There's the
Razer Naga.
That's Razer though. I'm talking about good stuff.
Okay. Wow.
I'm talking about quality stuff. Then I actually mentioned Corsair, so I don't know about that. I actually kind of broke my own rule there. But those I can vouch for the Red Dragon and Logitech ones. Those are
just destroying potential sponsorship opportunities before my very eyes.
You censor it.
Censor it.
Just bleep me out. I didn't say nothing.
Oh my God. Me. Okay.
Huh? You got the wrong talent lacking. Have you ever heard of a Razer Naga that like lasted a while? I mean, come on.
I mean, I just got mine. I got mine like a month ago.
Yikes.
What do you mean, yikes? It's emoji. Done me well.
I'm grimacing. Man. I don't know if you can.
Dude, I paid like $120 for it. It's like
I'm grimacing hard. I paid $40.
What? It's wireless.
Oh, why? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Maybe you're onto something.
It's like the premium version. It's super good.
Well, yeah. Watch it be premium and in the garbage within 3 months.
Stop. I will cry.
All right, my bad. Oh, okay. While we're on like optimizing your workflow, right? Proxies, dude. Rendering proxies for each POV. Oh my fucking God. It'll go a long way in terms of editing.
It'll take a while, but it'll
take a while. I mean, lately I've been using like this thing called Shutter Encoder, and it actually does it like way faster than me. Actually, I should probably preface with what a proxy is for people that don't know. A proxy, right?
Yeah, please.
Is like a much more optimized version of the raw footage that you already have, and it's actually made for editing
for your preview window.
Huh? Yeah. It's just for Premiere use. It's not going to be in the final render, but hey, it makes your life heaven. In the meantime, it makes you want to die slightly less in the editing process.
Yeah, it basically makes a carbon copy of the footage that you're working with, but downscales the resolution. I'm not sure if it messes with the bit rate, but it essentially just compresses the video. You can. Okay,
I mean,
gotcha. Well, it compresses the video into such a way that it's much easier for your Premiere to skim through it and not, lose frames every time you're trying to skim through the VOD or whatever it is you're trying to edit.
Zero latency, everything, dude.
Yeah, proxies are just really, really universally beneficial if your footage is slow to respond when you're working with it in your Premiere.
Even if you don't think it's slow to respond, even if you press space and then there's like a little bit of latency there, I mean, it'll get rid of that. Like,
right.
Even try a proxy. All you got to do in Premiere, right? You just go in your footage, you just right click proxy, make new proxy, click OK, and then you wait like, I don't know, however long. I don't know, just go try it right now if you're a content editor. If you're listening to this while editing for some reason. I don't know, how do you do that?
Probably. No, I think a significant portion of the people listening are editing right now. Glad you're working on your work, but try not to let the podcast distract you too much.
Yeah, get back to work.
Yeah, get back.
Also, if you work with footage that tends to have like multiple audio tracks, there actually is a way to like make it, for some reason, like in Premiere, it just sucks, right? You gotta render with QuickTime, and then it gives you like a 60 gigabyte file at least every single time. What you can do, by the way, get this thing called Shutter Encoder. This saves me because I work with a lot of footage like this. Get this like program called Shutter Encoder and render with like DNX HR with like a super low resolution. I'm talking like 500p. No, not 200p, really. Yeah, no, it'll just pop out a file like 10 gigs, has all the audio tracks, and it's it's just as good as a Premiere proxy. I don't know. So yeah, just wanted to say that in there because it's
yeah. I'll put it in the description for people that are interested.
Oh hell yeah, because like, oh my god. I researched this stuff, man. I don't know. I've spent like an accumulative multiple days like trying to figure out the best way to render this sort of stuff. It's such a niche issue, but like I know there are people out there with a similar issue to me. So if you're
it feels like a brick wall when you run into it, and it's like there's no way I'm going to be able to fix this. But just use proxies. Investigate proxies. Check them out. If you're not using them and your Premiere is slow,
shut up, my man. Proxy.
Just check it out.
Check them out.
All right. So before the show started, you told me that you had something that you wanted to rant about, and I'm really curious to hear as to what it is.
Dude, show reels.
Twitter show reels.
Twitter editor show reels. Like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to show off your editing, but like, can you at least show off like your work, at least what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like there's no hate to anyone in specific, but like, man, I'm trying to help you here. This is also another niche part that I want to talk about, because like if you're an editor and you've made like a little show reel, like showing off your work, and you've had subtitling and audio manipulation as an example.
I honestly agree. Like, if there's, how do I say this? If there is something in your show reel that is something that anyone could learn in software, being a complete newbie in less than 30 minutes, it might not be worth showcasing, or at least dedicating the time to show it as a skill set that you have, because a lot of editors that are competing, in the same space as you are just unquestionably able to do that. So if you want to show off things like subtitling work and things like that, do it while showing off something else as well. Just include it in another edit that you're showing off that, shows off something visually creative or, something along those lines, versus just telling people, oh yeah, I can subtitle, I can make your voice, high or low, I can throw in a low audio pass, and it's not as impressive, I think, as a lot of people feel it might be putting it on the resume.
Yeah. Because like, what are you bringing to the table, right? Like a lot of people can do that.
Like genuinely.
Like a lot of people put that in their show reels. What do you provide? What makes you stand out? What creative aspect can you bring into someone else's like VOD thing, I guess,
Right.
Also cuts. I noticed that was another thing. And people also put like, I can cut VODs, okay? Okay. Yeah, the cutting tool is like the default tool, man. I mean, it's not. I don't want to downplay the people's work, because cutting is hard. I mean, after a bit, but like, it kind of comes with it.
Yeah, if you're advertising already to Twitch streamers for work, it's kind of the impression that you already do that. I understand if you have a portfolio that you're going to be sending to like not only people that do like pre-recorded gameplay and other types of content like VOD edits edits and even things outside of that, like say podcasts or something, then I could see, you having on like a small list that, oh yeah, one of the, things that I do is VOD cuts, but it's not worth making a primary feature of your show reel. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's I think that's all I have to say about that, because it's just such a it's I wouldn't say it's upsetting, but it's a bit like, I know y'all got this, but like, y'all just got to market better.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Then you'll get the fucking big boys of, then you'll get the dough. I don't know. Got anything you hate about Premiere?
Do I have anything I hate about Premiere besides the fact that it crashes like literally every project that I work on?
Or editing in general? I don't know.
I guess the lack of uniformity in a software that contains everything. Like Dynamic Link is incredibly useful, right? Don't get me wrong, like I enjoy the fact that, Dynamic Link exists and you can, integrate After Effects work into your Premiere projects. But it is kind of unfortunate that you can't just have like an all-in-one tool that allows you to do everything from like, one area. I think there's other software that lets you do kind of that, but you are always relying on like, plugins or things like that. I know that's the nature of like editing software. Like there's always going to be plugins. There's always going to be, effect panels and things like that. But what I'm saying is I wish that you were able to do everything that you need to do for things like Audition or After Effects within something like Premiere.
Oh my God.
That would actually be worth the price that Adobe asks for every month. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
yeah.
that would be beautiful. But I worry that they split it up into, different software, not for monetization reasons, but for the fact that it might confuse people. Like having, that many options to be able to work within one piece of software might be overwhelming and would probably look like a NASA space control console. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I have to imagine that a amalgamation of After Effects, Premiere, and Audition would just look like a mess. But
Premiere is already super scary to look at the first time you open it. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, first time you open it, yeah.
Having all those other options that like After Effects and Audition.
Exactly, yeah. I remember how terrified I was when I opened After Effects for the first time, and then I activated like the camera. Oh my God, I was like, what is this? There's like lines and there's like a 3D model. Oh my God. I was freaking out. I broke it. Yeah, what happened?
No. Oh my.
Larry, what is it? Like, After Effects. Why are there 3 lines just on my screen? This is weird. It's a whole other can of worms. But I think that down the line, people would definitely gravitate towards software that is inclusive of as many features as possible that, people use for popular content creation, whether it be, audio editing for podcasts, music, things like that. Obviously, video editing for just content creation overall, and then specialty things like After Effects for people that want to indulge in the visual things. I think the closest answers we have to that right now are Final Cut and DaVinci, but even then you are relying on things like Fusion, I think that's what it's called, and other plugins and software like that. But it's better than Adobe.
Yeah, I think Blender also has some capabilities similar.
Yeah, actually they do.
Similar to editing. To editing in Premiere, but I could be wrong.
No, I do have friends that work in both Premiere, After Effects, and Blender, and they say the same thing.
Oh, what a bunch of nerds!
Yeah, right. Literally my last podcast guest. What a nerd!
I mean, no, he's too good to be doing that, like, and not be nerdish.
No, shout out Zaid. Zaid's super cool. He started learning Blender. Not shout out nerds. He started learning Blender not too long ago, and he's starting to incorporate it in his a bit more serious edits in his personal projects, and it really, really shines. And I think that more editors should probably take on learning Blender, in my opinion. But
I made a donut one time. I don't mean to brag.
Hey, yeah, the classic donut, the Blender donut. Do you have it still? Do you have the image still?
I don't.
Damn, I was gonna throw it up on screen for everybody to show off your donut.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'll whip up another donut.
Okay.
I don't mean to brag, but I do know how to make a donut.
A mean donut, a mean Blender donut. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Let's see, Larry. I think I've exhausted enough Tom Simons out of you, but is there anything else that you'd like to share with the class, so to speak, before we move along to next week's episode?
Oh, damn. No.
Just, not really, no.
No.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to wrap up today's podcast. Larry, I really, really appreciate you coming through and speaking to me a little bit about the editing process and everything that you do. Of course, man, of course. Where can people keep up with you if they don't already?
Oh, shit. I guess you could follow my Twitter at TalentLacking. That's just one word, but or you could continue watching TommyInnit videos, because I'll probably be there for a bit.
All right, wonderful. Thanks for coming in, and I'll see everybody next week. Bye-bye, Larry.
Bye. Just bye.
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 Goodbye.